now, proudly serving those who serve. This is Around the Services.
It's our big story. Osama bin Laden is dead. We have a reaction from the White House and from boots on the ground. That extraordinary mission in Pakistan injected a renewed sense of patriotism at Monday's Medal of Honor ceremony in Washington. Welcome, I'm Petty Officer Michael Wilkin. Justice has been served. Those words came late Sunday night from President Barack Obama as he told the nation Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, had been killed by U.S. forces during a raid in Pakistan. And now we're starting to learn some of the details that led to this historic moment. Celebrations erupted around the United States into the early hours of Monday morning over the news Americans had waited nearly 10 years to hear.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
The president said bin Laden was killed during a firefight with a small U.S. team Sunday at a compound in Pakistan where bin Laden had been hiding out. The operation was months in planning. The president said he was first briefed last August of bin Laden's location. It was the result, he said, of years of painstaking work by the U.S. intelligence community.
It was far from certain, and it took many months to run this thread to ground. I met repeatedly with my national security team as we developed more information about the possibility that we had located bin Laden hiding within a compound deep inside Pakistan. And finally, last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice.
White House senior officials say the 40-minute helicopter raid was very complex because the heavily secured compound was located in a residential area, raising the possibility of innocent civilians getting hurt. Officials say bin Laden did resist the assault force and died during the firefight. 3 men, including bin Laden's adult son, were killed as well. A woman who was being used as a shield by one of the men also died. No one from the U.S. team was hurt. Officials say the U.S. did not share its intelligence with any other countries, and only a few people inside the U.S. government knew about the operation in advance. The president says capturing bin Laden, dead or alive, has been his top priority in the war against al-Qaeda since he took office.
For over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
The death of bin Laden brings an end to a fierce hunt for the man responsible for the worst terrorist attacks on U.S. soil. And for the families of the victims, bin Laden's death may help bring a little closure.
Let me say to the families who lost loved ones on 9/11 that we have never forgotten your loss, nor wavered in our commitment to see that we do whatever it takes to prevent another attack on our shores.
The president says there's no doubt al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against the U.S., but he says this sends a clear message to all terrorists around the world.
So Americans understand the costs of war. Yet, as a country, we will never tolerate our security being threatened, nor stand idly by when our people have been killed. We will be relentless in defense of our citizens and our friends and allies. We will be true to the values that make us who we are.
Senior officials at the Pentagon briefed reporters on just what went down during that helicopter raid and firefight. For more on that, we turn to Staff Sergeant E.L. Craig from our Pentagon Bureau.
Thanks, Petty Officer Wilkin. According to defense officials, Osama bin Laden was killed by U.S. forces in a 40-minute operation. Full Muslim religious rites were conducted aboard USS Carl Vinson in the North Arabian Sea before laying his body into the sea. At a background briefing Monday morning, top defense officials said no country was willing to receive or accept bin Laden's body within the 24-hour period after death in which Muslims are required to be buried. The raid took place in the town of Abbottabad, nearly 40 miles north of Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Multiple sources of intelligence led to the raid. The intel was not shared with outside sources or any sources outside the U.S. government, to include the Pakistani government. This photo shows the area in 2004 before the compound was built. This is a recent photo where bin Laden was living a life of relative comfort for several years away from the harsh mountain provinces where he was believed to be hiding. The compound contained housing for supporters in one outbuilding and on the first floor of the main house. The bin Laden family lived on the second and third floors of the main house. 4 military-aged men, to include Osama bin Laden, and 1 woman who was used as a human shield, were killed in the firefight. 2 women were wounded. Other non-combatants present in the compound were left in a safe place. Pentagon Press Secretary Jeff Morrell released the following reaction on the death of Osama bin Laden. He wrote, "The Secretary Gates is enormously proud of everyone involved in making yesterday's operation a success. It was an extraordinary achievement." Another senior defense official said the president's intense interest after intel sources identified the compound as bin Laden's probable residence last August elevated preparations for Sunday's successful mission to an even higher level than before. Reporting from the Pentagon, I'm Staff Sergeant E.L. Craig. Back to you.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said the death of Osama bin Laden has delivered a big blow to the insurgency and that the United States will continue taking the fight to al-Qaeda and their Taliban allies.
Our partnerships, including our close cooperation with Pakistan, have helped put unprecedented pressure on al-Qaeda and its leadership. Continued cooperation will be just as important in the days ahead. Because even as we mark this milestone, we should not forget that the battle to stop al-Qaeda and its syndicate of terror will not end with the death of bin Laden.
Secretary Clinton also said the U.S. must take this opportunity to renew our resolve and redouble our efforts to fight the insurgency. The NATO Secretary General sent congratulations to Commander-in-Chief Barack Obama for the successful mission. Anders Fogh Rasmussen says this is a significant success for the security of NATO allies and all the nations which have joined us in our efforts to combat the scourge of global terrorism to make the world a safer place for all of us. The NATO Secretary General says as terrorism continues to pose a direct threat to our security and international stability, international cooperation remains key, and NATO is at the heart of that cooperation. We spoke with American Forces Press Service reporter Karen Parrish in Afghanistan, who provided some insight on how troops downrange were reacting to the news.
The news spread throughout the camp this morning between about 8 and 9 o'clock. The reaction was very positive among the soldiers. They're happy and excited that they've seen some victory in the war on terror. But brigade officers emphasized that their mission here hasn't changed. They're still in the counterinsurgency fight. They're still here to protect the populace and extend the reach of governance, and they're going to carry on with that mission.
We'll have complete coverage of the Medal of Honor ceremony today at the White House. But first, for more reaction from boots on the ground, let's go to Petty Officer Liz Murray in the Pentagon Channel newsroom.
The news of Osama bin Laden's death was, needless to say, well received by troops overseas as well as by Americans at home. Some people hit the streets, others celebrated online. Here's some of what we heard and read.
It is 64 degrees in downtown Baghdad, 6:09 on the clock.
The voice of Freedom Radio AFN Iraq as the news of bin Laden's death seemed all but certain.
Freedom Radio AFN Iraq, we're going to patch you into the president making the announcement of Osama bin Laden's death.
That the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Troops around the world got the news via commercial television.
About time. Honestly, that was my first reaction. Was it's about time we got him.
It says a lot about our country. We persevere, and just feels good to be an American. Feels good to be a Marine.
Many Americans at home celebrated. Thousands turned out at Ground Zero. USA, USA, USA. And Times Square flooded with revelers. Another spontaneous gathering outside the White House.
It felt like there was a void, that there was justice that hadn't been served for such a long period of time.
I was amazed, and I was just incredibly happy because not only is this man a coward and a murderer, he's been a disease on the religion of Islam, and he's caused all kinds of bad relations between different religions.
Thousands are reacting on Facebook pages. This posted by ISAF. NATO made it clear that it considered the September 11th attacks on the United States an attack against all allies. We remember the thousands of innocent lives lost to terrorist atrocities in so many of our nations. Words of congratulations on the Navy Special Warfare Command wall. Our entire country is proud of you. Well done. And outstanding. Nice job, gentlemen. Well executed. And this from the Marine Facebook wall. Big oorah, thanks so much. This nation would be nothing without those men and women who put their lives on the line daily.
Twitter accounts are buzzing with many messages of congratulations and thanks to America's service members. For more on the historic moment, including the military's response to the death of the terrorist leader, head online to pentagonchannel.mil.
Coming up ahead on Around the Services, complete coverage of today's Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House. But first, we check in on the latest developments in Afghanistan, where Afghan civil order police are taking on more logistics responsibility. While coalition forces are scheduled to end major operations in Afghanistan, Afghan forces must take on even more responsibility. Air Force Staff Sergeant Yoshi Shinzato shows us how Afghan police forces are taking the lead in key areas.
Afghan National Civil Order Police train constantly to provide the Afghan people with security. And although the yelling and the training takes center stage, it's logistics that makes it all possible. First Lieutenant Cristina Calagueros knows how vital it is for the ANCOP to master this job.
Well, this is the last major piece that they needed to be self-sufficient on their own, and logistics is a big piece that kind of goes unseen.
Logistics isn't just about planning. They supply everything from weapons to ammo and even uniform items.
They don't need to go downtown or outside the RTC to get the things they need. We provide anything they need to train.
Reporting from Medellin, Afghanistan, I'm Staff Sergeant Yoshi Shinzato.
That's a look at what's happening downrange. Remember, you can download or watch these stories anytime on demand at pentagonchannel.mil. Welcome back. President Barack Obama Monday awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously to two soldiers for their heroic actions during the Korean War. Private First Class Anthony Kohoanohano and Private First Class Henry Savela received the Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry. President Obama said these two soldiers exemplified what it means to serve our country.
6 decades ago gave our nation one of their own. Private First Class Henry Savela and Private First Class Anthony Kohoanohano. They did not grow old. These two soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice when they were just 19 and 21 years old. Age did not weary them. In the hearts of their families, they remain forever young.
The two soldiers' family members were on hand to receive the Medal of Honor from the president. Well, nearly 60 years have passed since Anthony Kohoanohano and Henry Savela died in Korea. Their families have never forgotten their lives nor their bravery in death. Army Sergeant John Mann takes a closer look at the family's quest to bring recognition to those they loved and lost.
In 1950, the United States went to war on the Korean Peninsula.
It was a war in a place where most of the soldiers and sailors and Marines and Air Force personnel had little knowledge of.
Over 3 years of intense fighting, 133 service members received the military's highest honor for their gallantry, the Medal of Honor, 95 of them posthumously. On May 2, 2011, President Barack Obama added 2 more names to this honored fraternity: Army Private First Class Henry Savela of New Jersey and Army Private First Class Anthony Kahua Ohanohano from Hawaii.
Anthony was a determined type of person, was a star football player, star basketball player, and he was one that protected his younger brothers and fought for them.
Hawaiian Senator Daniel Akaka learned about Anthony's heroism 10 years ago. He quickly became involved with the Kahua Ohanohano family to award Anthony the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Battle of Chupari on September 1st, 1951.
His company was under attack, heavy attack, and there he fought off the enemy by himself. He killed 9 enemy in front of him with a machine gun, and fought 2 by hands and was killed there by the enemy.
Though recommended for the Medal of Honor, the award was denied, and Anthony was posthumously awarded the Distinguished Service Cross.
And the family felt that that wasn't the proper medal for him.
Less than a year later and only a few miles away, Henry Savela gave his life to save his fellow soldiers during a combat mission near the village of Pongili on June 12, 1952.
An attack on a heavily fortified hill that had been fought over month after month after month.
A letter from his commander told his family how Henry died, while a new heroic comic published in 1953 illustrated his heroic story.
He moved into the enemy trenches in his assigned area with the lead elements of his squad and engaged the enemy at close range with his bayonet and grenades.
Although PFC Savela was wounded, he continued to fight, refusing medical aid and leaving himself exposed to further enemy fire.
An enemy grenade landed among the men near the wounded man. Without hesitating, your son fell on the enemy grenade, saving the lives of several men. Such courage and sacrifice is never found among normal men, and such deeds live forever.
Henry's nephew Anthony Savela was born 10 years after his uncle was killed. When he was old enough to learn about his uncle's bravery, Anthony took on the task of fighting to upgrade Henry's Distinguished Service Cross to the Medal of Honor.
We had to get records, and we had to get stuff from the Library of Congress. Every time we sent something, they sent something back saying we need more. It was just a long journey. I didn't give up, and it paid off. It paid off.
A call from the president told the Savela family that even though 59 years had passed, Henry would receive the recognition they felt he deserved.
And he said that he was awarding the Medal of Honor to my brother.
Blew my mind. It was like, I had chills through my body. It was an unbelievable feeling.
I know what it takes to earn the Medal of Honor, because it's really giving their lives for our country by doing an extraordinary feat.
Every time you honor a Medal of Honor recipient, you honor all the men and women and all the families who have bled, and died.
Coming up next on Around the Services, from Pakistan to here at home, needless to say, it's been an eventful 48 hours. We'll take a look at some of those compelling images ahead. It is our big story of the day, the death of Osama bin Laden. When word spread that a small U.S. team killed the al-Qaeda leader, the scene outside the White House and at Ground Zero took on a celebratory tone. Here's a look back. I'm Petty Officer Michael Wilkin. For everyone here at the Pentagon Channel, thanks for watching.